This is episode 27 of the Bits for You podcast. And before we go into the topics of this episode, let's get through our sponsors.
Today's show is brought to you by lootcrate.com. LOOTCRATE.com. Save 10% on any new subscription at www.trylootcrate.com. Bits for you. Enter promo code BRIDGE10 for 10% savings. BRIDGE10 for 10% savings. Loot Crate is a monthly mystery crate that delivers the best in geek and gaming gear. From collectibles, apparel, tech gadgets, art, and other epic gear. It's like Comic-Con in a box. Loot Crate is a monthly subscription box service for epic geek and gamer items and pop culture gear. Listen up, girls. This is perfect for your geek boyfriends. For less than $20 a month, you get 6 to 8 items that include licensed gear, apparel, collectibles, unique one-of-a-kind items, and more. You have until the 19th at 9 p.m. Pacific to subscribe and receive that month's crate. And when the cutoff happens, that's it. It's over. I think the most awesome part of this is the fact that you don't know what you're getting, but that's just my taste. By supporting Loot Crate, you support this podcast. To save 10% on any new subscription, go to trylootcrate.com/bitsforyou. Again, that's trylootcrate.com/bitsforyou to save 10% on any new subscription. Enter promo code BRIDGE10 for 10% savings. BRIDGE10.
For me, get that for your fiance. But use that code though if you do get it. Trylootcrate.com/bitsforyou to save 10%. And today's show is also brought to you by Gamefly.com. Sign up for a free 30-day, one game out trial, specifically for my listeners at the following URL, www.gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou. You want to know what Gamefly is? Very simple. Gamefly has over 8,000 games, new releases, classics to rent for Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, PS3, Xbox 360, and so on, as well as other systems. As a Gamefly member, you can rent as many console and handheld games as you want and get them delivered right to your mailbox for one low monthly fee. If you like the game so much you don't want to send it back, you can always keep it for a low use price. There's never any due dates or late fees. Gamefly also offers the ability to rent Blu-ray movies and DVDs as part of the regular service at no extra charge. To get your free trial, go to gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou. Again, that's gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou for your free 30-day trial. I'm a member of Gamefly.com, and it's worked for me for many years. I know you guys will love it, so give it a try. Again, that's Gameflyoffer.com/bitsforyou to get a free trial. All right, so in this episode, we welcome again BWA Swtich, YouTube streamer, I believe also Twitch streamer, but I could be wrong. I think it's still just YouTube. Her Twitter is BWA_Swtich. She's also going to mention it in the episode. She returns here to talk about Splatfest for Splatoon 2. And she's helping out a friend. She made a fundraiser, Operation Making Rain. Hashtag Operation Making Rain, to help her friend who had a incident with his in his home. There was some bad weather in Illinois, and the storms destroyed his basement, and that's his main source of income, and where he does a lot of his streaming as well. So it's a nice cause. She talks a little bit about that, and also Splatfest for Splatoon 2. Then Javier talks about the Mae Young Classic right after the segment with BWA Swtich. And after that, we talk about the episodes 5 through 9 for Cowboy Bebop and the 5 questions that we will be asking weekly until someone emails us the title of the movie, if they can guess it, to win the prize of the DVD set of Cowboy Bebop the series and the DVD of the Cowboy Bebop movie. Oh shit! I always screw up in the intro, but during the episode, I have no issues. Just the freaking intro. Anyways, enjoy.
BWA Swtich with us again. She was
Hello.
So I just wanted to talk about our experience at the Splatoon 2 Splatfest.
Which was when?
So, this was over July 15th. It was from 5 p.m. to I think 9 p.m. Central.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I remember it was 4 hours because you did the 4-hour stream.
Yeah, that was the United States one, by the way. I think Europe had another time earlier in the day. But ours was from 5 to 9 Central Time.
Yeah, so why don't you tell us the how your stream went?
Oh, it went well. Let's see, what was last night's Splatfest? Team Cake versus Team Ice Cream.
Yep.
And I chose Team Cake because I had to. I didn't really want to make a decision because I love cake and ice cream. And so on my thumbnail, I put hashtag Team Cake Shake. So I had to shorten it to be actually on a team, and I chose Team Cake. And I think that was like the smaller team. I think like, I don't know the percentage, but it was like a huge majority picked ice cream. So I had someone like cheering against my team the whole time because he liked ice cream. I don't really know why, but it was alright. We still had a lot of fun. 4-hour live stream. I've never done that before. I think my max, and this was for my 100 subscribers special. I think it was like almost 3 hours, and that was like a stretch for me. So 4 hours, it was a challenge, but we got it done, and people hung around for the whole time. So it was a good time.
So no breaks during those 4 hours?
I had to get up to feed my cat and to let my dog out. But it was like not more than like 5 minutes tops.
I don't think I can last 4 hours straight on the stream. I would get up to go to the bathroom at least 3 times.
Yeah.
Drinking water.
I think I did that once. I had a huge thing of water there. I had to. And I will admit, I was pretty incoherent by the last hour, but
I can imagine.
Apparently people stuck around, so it turned out all right, I guess.
Yeah, the toll on the mind is just exhausting.
Yeah, I'm not, believe it or not, I don't know if you could tell, maybe you could tell, but I'm not that much of an extrovert, so it's kind of a challenge to stream like that, but it's a lot different than like being in an actual room with people talking, so
yeah,
I don't know. Positives and negatives, I guess.
Yeah, it's a little difficult. I'm also kind of the same boat as you about that. So, but it's actually I was actually considering a stream as well in the future, but I wasn't sure because I know you can get a capture card for this, but it seems confusing with the Switch.
You can do it the way of the no capture card. Just put your phone. It's just weird, but a lot of people still do that.
Yeah,
a lot of people still do that on Instagram.
He uses his tablet and just sets it up in front of the TV.
And just streams. I was doing that on I did that a couple nights ago, and I posted on Twitter playing that zombie game. It's just weird because people walk in front of the TV.
Yeah, I haven't had that happen to my friend yet. That would be interesting. But yeah, I would say if you have a desire to do it, just use what you have if you can. It doesn't matter like how good you are or anything. You got to start somewhere, and as long as you have like at least one person who's willing to hang out with you, it can only get better from there. So yeah, the capture card, I think it's only like $150, and it's really not as complicated to like learn as you would think.
So you just hook up the HDMI to the Switch, and then the rest of the connections to the computer, right?
Yeah. And then the software, well, I have Elgato, so the software is included with it. They give you like a download link. And some people use other variations, and you can pay more money, and I guess it has like more features, but I haven't felt the need to do that. The one I have does everything that I want it to so far.
I was looking into that the other day. There's some that are got good reviews that are as low as like $75. They're
Oh, really?
very
Yeah,
basic.
yeah.
They don't have a lot
Yeah,
of
I guess
features,
there's
but
some for every budget.
yeah,
Yeah, just probably lose some features.
Yeah,
exactly.
maybe. I don't know.
So you did this whole 4-hour stream, but I realized because I joined your stream later on, and I knew about it beforehand, but you had a cause for it. Can you go into details about that?
Oh yeah. Like the reason why I went the entire 4 hours was because of it's what we called hashtag Operation Make It Rain, and me and a few friends that I've met through streaming kind of got together. The reason why we did it is because this past Wednesday, I think it was the 12th of July, we found out that Abdallah Smash 026, his basement got flooded by some really bad storms. I think he lives in Illinois, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I know that for sure. But yeah, the storms were in Illinois. So yeah, I don't know all the details, but most of his stuff was fine, but it's just like the structural damage to the house. It's gonna be like a couple thousand, like 4,000 or 5,000, I think. So, just the fact that it's like his first off nerd cave and then like home studio, like office, and that's like his main full-time source of income. I felt really bad about that, and so did some other people that I knew. And it's like when you have friends that live kind of far away, it's hard to like know what to do to help in that situation. And like when you're worried, you want to do something to help. So we got together the idea to do a fundraiser during my stream of the Splatfest last night. It started out from there, and then everybody just kept getting on board. So not only was it just during that stream, it's going to end up being a week-long thing. Well, it started on, let's see, it's the 16th today. It started on the 14th at noon, and people have been signing up to stream all during the week. And so we have a donate link, and on Twitter, it's hashtag Operation Make It Rain. It's also on YouTube. If you search that, every stream that has been done so far will come up in the search bar. And so, yeah, we have the donate link in all of our streams. So, let's see, what have we done so far? I think we're like 8.6% of the way to goal. So we have like $450 in 2 days. So I'm kind of
that's pretty good.
Yeah, proud of how it's going. Like it grew a lot faster than I thought it was, or it would. And it's only day 3, so it's exciting to see where it's going to go from here.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
I like that you guys are helping each other out, especially in a difficult time like he's having. Where you mentioned most of it is his source of income, and I can only imagine how devastating that is. That experience that he went through.
Oh yeah, not only that, I don't want to say too much, but last night we found out he's also having like some personal issues, like a family member's really sick, so it's just like everything's hitting at once.
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, and so this cause is, this is going to help him at least with one of these problems. And I'm sure just not only the money, but also the support from France is also going to be, great for him.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, it's mainly to help him out, but I feel like I can only speak for myself, but I feel like everyone that's become involved so far, it's like helped them out in some way too. Just like knowing that when something bad happens to one of us, the rest of us will be there and we'll do whatever we can to make it better.
Yeah, that's awesome. If that was me, I would be down on my I'll say luck, but also, mentally. But just the fact that my friends are that supportive, I would be so happy about that alone.
Yeah.
And you guys have so many days left, so I'm sure you'll raise quite a bit more money.
Yes, I can only hope.
How long is the actual Operation Make It Rain going to last?
It will go to the 21st, which is also release day of Splatoon. We'll probably try to go till maybe as close to midnight as we can. And yeah, we have 6 streamers right now helping out, and then we had some artists jump in. We have 3 artists, so anybody that donates more than $5 will get at least one digital art piece. I don't know how they call it in digital. It's not really artwork, but yeah, it's artwork. But yeah, then we have We're having a musician jump in, so she will probably do some custom videos for people who donate a certain amount. Still getting the details on that worked out, but as soon as we know, we'll put it up on Twitter under hashtag Operation Make It Rain.
That's right, Operation Make It Rain. So that's how you look it up, and if anything else, you want to message BWA Swtich.
Yeah, you can DM me BWA_Swtich.
So let's actually talk about the actual Splatfest.
Yeah.
I only joined like the last 30 minutes, sadly. So it was one thing that was confusing to me, at least at first, was I was trying to join your team, because at one point you left your team we were forming your team. I was going to join it, but the problem was that you were team cake, and I was in team ice cream.
They always have to divide people. Like, I know we were talking about that last time a little bit on the podcast. Two kinds of people in the world.
Yeah, like, I thought it was going to work like kind of like the Wii U. Maybe I'm actually wrong about this, but I thought when they did Splatfest before, you would just wear the shirt of the cause. Let's say your team, I don't know, dog versus team cat, and you're wearing team dog. You could be in any team, doesn't matter. It's just that because you're wearing the shirt, the points go towards team dog or team cat, whichever shirt you're wearing.
Interesting.
So I'm pretty sure it didn't matter what team you're in. So, but now they actually made it like, okay, you are team cake versus team ice cream, and that's it. You're not gonna be. There's no equipment involved with this. We didn't have to wear any kind of shirt. I didn't notice anything like that.
Yeah, that was strange. I unfortunately didn't play Splatoon 1, but like they did divide people up into teams, and your squad had to be all either cake or ice cream, depending on what team you were on. But it wasn't equally divided. Like, I think I said that most people picked ice cream. Yeah. But so like it would be sometimes a team ice cream versus team ice cream, and because there wasn't enough cake. But then also I did see that there was a team cake versus team cake match. So I don't understand. I don't know. Maybe they're still working on figuring all that out, and maybe that's why they did the Splatfest before the actual game is released.
Yeah, like I can tell you, we did a poll on our Twitter, Bits for You podcast, and we 70% was like ice cream.
Okay, so yeah, it was a pretty big majority. That's odd. I mean, ice cream's really good, so I guess it's not that odd, but
I was like, why not both? So.
Exactly, me too. Team cake shake.
Yeah. So I was trying to switch teams too, and I was like, wow, I cannot even switch teams. I was just and I think you mentioned it, like you had to create a new profile.
Yeah, people were doing that.
Yeah, so you had to create an actual Nintendo Switch profile, not like in game.
Yeah.
And
then go and re-download on the eShop the app on that profile.
Oh, you need to re-download it too?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, and then you have to add the friend back on the Switch, and then you join the game. You have to do the tutorial again. It takes a long time.
So much work. I guess they really want you to stay on one team.
Yeah. So we never officially played together. I saw you play though. I was in your stream because you usually use YouTube Live.
Yeah, that was a bummer. I felt kind of bad. Like you had that thing going with your family. You might have left early and then didn't get to play with me. But maybe this Friday I will be streaming again, so we'll get around to it, and hopefully we'll have that voice chat thing going by then.
Yeah, I won't be able to join you Friday or this weekend because I'm in New York.
Okay.
But we'll hook up at some point and play together with a bunch of other people. That will be
fun. Cool. Yeah, sounds good.
And Robert, I know you're not too interested in this game. You want to talk about at least the cons? What doesn't interest you in this game?
I'm not against the game. It's just I'm
saying it doesn't attract you.
Yeah, right now it's just something that hasn't caught my attention. Maybe because I really haven't played it or at least tried the demo, which I should have. But I was out yesterday, so I couldn't join the Splatfest. I actually wanted to try it out. I tried out ARMS and I loved it, but that's something I have to try out still. Hopefully they have does anybody know if they'll have a demo out for Splatoon 2?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
I
don't
think
so.
they already had the test fire back. I think it was in April, and then this Splatfest demo. So I think that's
I think
what
that's
they
it.
did.
Okay, that makes sense. So I hope to play it at some point. Maybe I'll get it from GameFly and try it out there. And if I love it, I'll get it.
That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
I understand. That's how I was with Splatoon 1. I didn't think it would be a big thing, and I thought it would just be one of those one-off games that Nintendo made. But apparently now it's a franchise, so I gotta get in on it.
Yeah, I mean, I know people that were the same way. They didn't play 1, and they played the test fires for 2, and they love it. And I know some that played 1 and didn't think they were going to love it, and they loved it, so they're getting 2.
Yeah, just from my experience, because I had a Wii U, day one, and I saw Splatoon. It was one of the E3s, and it was showing it off, and I thought it was really neat looking, and the fact that you could like going down in the ink and everything looked so fresh. So I was like, okay, I'll get this game. I just thought it was kind of cool. I didn't think I would love it that much, and then I played it for a few months, and I loved it. And I was like, this is the best game on the Wii U. I would like always preach that for Splatoon.
I think a lot of people would say that too. Would agree that it's one of the best games, if not the best game for Wii U.
Yeah, so I was like, when they announced it for Splatoon 2, I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely getting this. I already knew I was gonna get it because of my love for the first one.
Yeah, and for Nintendo, I don't even know. Like, you might be able to correct me on this, but isn't it like one of the first-person shooter, like squad type games that's like a Nintendo franchise?
Yeah, because Nintendo's not gonna release some kind of really violent
Yeah.
first-person shooter, or some kind of war game or something like that. So this is like their way to do it, and I guess they finally figured it out. It was kind of creative with the ink and the squids and everything.
Yeah, really smart idea. Paintball, sort of, to an extent. But
Yeah.
nobody dies, no one really gets hurt. So it's cool.
Things get inked.
Yep.
So
Get splatted.
yeah, that. So we'll actually talk about the details of the game. It's gonna come out July 21st, and there's gonna be an online feature just like the first one. But the only difference is the Nintendo Switch is gonna do a paid online feature, but they're not introducing that till next year. So for now, Splatoon 2 is gonna be free till next year, and along with the release, they're releasing an app for it. So for the app, it enables you to do team voice chat, which is a feature we never had in Splatoon 1. So I think that would be really interesting. Did you actually, well, because I know you did a stream, but you didn't like Skype or anything with anybody else, did you?
No, I'm still trying to figure that part out. I don't know. It's something with the sound capture in my program. I'll have to look up how to do that. So I have not done that yet.
So I imagine that if you were like an organized play on the first one, I imagine you had to be on like Skype or something.
Yeah, I think so. If you didn't actually go to where your team was physically and play with them.
Right. So it's really nice and it's including it now for this one. But the only catch is you have to download this app. But it does a lot of features about inviting people to your team. It notifies when people join, and you could talk while you're in the lobby or while you're playing. So I think it also notifies you when the stages switch. Not too many people know too much about the app right now. They did release some details. We do know that the app, and I'm sure the app will always stay free. Just the online feature is not going to be free till 2018. It will only be free till 2018. You see,
Yeah.
it's like
it's interesting. Like, some people don't like that it's through the phone versus like through the actual Switch. And I can see some of the concerns because with streamers, like, how are you gonna have that voice chat go through your live stream? But maybe it'll be really easy. Maybe it won't. We'll have to figure that part out. But I like that it's through the phone because I feel like even if you don't have your game with you, you'll still be able to keep up with like appointments and things. Like, yeah, you can send an appointment to your friend that you want to play with them at a certain time. So I like that concept.
Yeah, because you can invite people to private battles. Let's say, I guess technically you have the app running on your phone, but your Switch is not on, and then someone's like, "Hey, let's play. I'm gonna invite you." Then you're like, okay, I'm gonna turn on my Switch and start playing. So you don't actually have to be playing or anything. Someone could just message you on your phone, and you don't have to give up like your phone number or anything. It's just all through the app.
Yeah.
Let's say you just become friends with somebody online and you don't actually know them. You just go through the app and talk to them that way.
And I think you can, I don't know for sure, I think I remember reading about this, but you can link people through social media. So maybe if they're not even on your Switch friends list, you can still get like an invite from them and maybe like a friend code request that way.
Yeah, I think it's an interesting idea, and we'll see how it plays out. But I feel like it'll catch on.
Yeah. Nintendo's always done their own thing in that regard. Like, I don't think they've had really voice chat on any of their games before, except that We Speak. I don't know if you ever heard of that, but it was for Animal Crossing City Folk.
Oh, yeah.
And it was so terrible, but that was like the only voice chat that I know of that they had before on one of their games.
Is the reason why they don't have supported voice chat in the past, except for that We Speak, because of the things that people would say that Nintendo tries to protect the young people that are playing?
I believe so. Yeah, they do that a lot. There was even, I think, what was it? It was for the DS. They would even like be really strict about people like sharing friend codes, and you couldn't really even find other people's friend codes online unless they like private message each other. It was a real pain in the butt, and it kind of it a little bit upsets me being an adult and someone that has grown up with Nintendo and put all those years into it. That
Yeah.
I completely get why they do it, because there are people that are terrible out in the world and will expose little kids to things that they shouldn't be. And so it is cool that they're trying to protect them from that, but it's frustrating at the same time. I hope they find a balance. I think they're working on that.
So I'm assuming that in this app, when people are voice chatting with Splatoon 2, there's going to be some way to report people that are using, like dropping F-bombs or any kind of like obscenities that the Nintendo or the actual parents of these kids won't want them to listen to.
Probably so. And then also people have to keep in mind that the Switch does have a lot of parental controls on it. So if you go look through all those options, I imagine that there's already like an option that if you don't want your kids to use the app, then they won't be able to unless you enter a password.
Oh, that's neat. I would have to look into that. I don't have kids, so I don't really mess around.
Yeah,
with
same.
them.
I never looked at the options, but I know there are a lot
I never
of
even bothered going through that list. I was like, okay, it's nice it's there, but I don't need to use it.
You can expose me to anything. I don't care.
So the game itself, very fresh game. It's changed differently from the first one. The maps, yeah, that's an obvious one. And then the way they use the specials are all new. So basically, I think you figured out how to use specials in the stream.
Yeah, it took 3 hours. I don't know why it took me that long. I'm bad at games, but I figured it out.
Yeah, there's I think it's like the top right or there's some kind of gauge that tells you, okay, you've used this much ink, so now you could use a special. And all specials are attached to their weapons, so it differs.
Mm-hmm.
So I did use the roller yesterday. I think you used a lot too.
That's all I used.
Yeah.
Well, okay, at the beginning I think it was a splatter shot until I was like, I don't like this, and switched over to splat roller.
Yeah. So like the roller, I know for sure is when you get a special, you just jump in the air and then you just come down with all this ink that splashes out. And so it affects the whole area. Instant kill instant splat.
Yeah.
For any other opposing team member around there.
I wanted to ask Javi or BWA if you guys know. I'm not too clear on story mode or single player. Is that a feature in Splatoon 2?
Yeah, there's a story, just like the first one. The first one had a story and it had a in boss and everything. So there's definitely a bit of a story going on. All right,
because I was just assuming that it was only multiplayer, but it's neat that at least it has some kind of a story or single player option as well.
Yeah, single player, I did hear this. It's I don't want to say weak, but well, I mean most first person shooters have like a campaign and it's not all that long as far as I know.
Yeah.
I'm not too versed in FPSs. So it's like that. There is single player, but if you want a game to solely play by yourself, like say you don't have internet, Splatoon 2 is probably not going to be the best game for you,
Mm-hmm.
but there is some single player in there.
Yeah, it seems
I
like
heard
the focus is mostly multiplayer. That's what they're pushing.
So I did play the first one, and the campaign in that one was okay. I actually didn't play it at first. I just played online mostly, probably for the first month. When I finally got the amiibos were tied to the game, the campaign. So you actually had to go through the story to unlock stuff on your amiibo, which gave you costumes and guns and stuff.
That's neat. So they kind of made you go through if you like amiibo.
Yeah, so let's say you bought the amiibo. This is for the first one. I don't know what they're doing for the second one specifically yet. But for the first one, you put the amiibo on, and then you have to select a stage. They'll put that's in the story, and it would change the stage slightly. And it wouldn't be unlocked unless you did already beat that stage on the story mode. So you had to go beat the story and then do the challenge. Basically, the amiibo made you do.
Oh, okay. So that kind of stretched it out a little bit by adding in the challenges. That's cool. Yeah. I like that.
Yeah, some of the costumes from the amiibos are really famous or popular. Like one of them was like the samurai set. People love that. Or the golden splat. I forgot the name of the weapon. It's just like a gun, the regular splatter.
Yeah. So I imagine you could go through that campaign with each different weapon too.
Yeah, and that's how some of the challenges were. Like you would only use this weapon. In the story, you use whatever I guess the main weapon, but then they'll make you use different weapons, like maybe like a sniping, pink gun or ink gun.
Cool. I hope they stick with that. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, we'll see what they do. I did not pre-order any of the amiibos for this one.
Me either. I guess I better do that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard once they come out. Like I have the original 3 and then the sisters, so I have 5 amiibos of this, but that's for the first one.
Yeah.
So I heard, and I did read that you could use the original ones in the new one. So we'll see how it goes.
Maybe even more challenges. Who knows?
Yeah. And let's see, anything else I should mention? The salmon run is also new for Splatoon 2, which is basically you getting waves of like creatures attacking this island. You and the team have to splat them all, and then it ends with like a boss. And as you survive, you're supposed to get some prizes, I think, but I don't think they revealed that yet.
It's so mysterious.
Yeah, you have to figure out when it comes out, kind of thing.
Yeah, it's exciting though. I know a lot of people are excited for a salmon run.
Yeah, because that was really one of the big differences from the first one and the second one. When they announced it, I was also excited. I was like, ooh, I wanted this in the first one. Because in the first one, it was just basically a bunch of team fights, which is turf war, which you did at Splatoon 2 Fest, or Splatfest. And I forget the other mode already. Turf war. There's no like team deathmatch. I don't remember. There's one where you control an area for a certain amount of time, and then when the time runs out, whoever held it the most would win.
Yeah, I like that idea.
I forget the name of that mode. And
was it Turf War, or is that something else?
I think Turf War is the one that's the one you have to splat or ink the area the most.
Oh, okay.
Like so the whole map. And this other mode I'm talking about, it's just a specific area.
Oh, okay. Like a base, 3 different bases. I don't know. What do they call that in Call of Duty? That mode.
It's like zone capture or something.
Yeah. Interesting.
Actually, that's what might be called zone capture. And then there was another one in the first one where there was this tower that you would get on top of, and then it starts moving. And if it gets to the enemy base, you win, or your team wins.
Oh, yeah. I saw that in the Nintendo Direct.
Yeah, that was in the first one, too.
Interesting. Okay.
That's actually a lot of fun.
There's some variety in there. That's good to hear.
Yeah. And then I know there's another one that the Nintendo Direct mentioned was, like, there's this gun that's, like, some huge, overpowered gun. I think it looks like a salmon or something, or a fish. And if you get it to the other team side, you win there, too. So basically, the idea is you want to protect the teammate that's holding this OP gun and get to the other side. And I think that's the only modes I'm aware of. I think the gun one is new. I'm such a big fan of the first one. I can't remember that one too well. I remember playing the tower one a lot and the turf war. And so those two are definitely in the first
Indeed. Well, that was like 2 years ago now, wasn't it? That it came
Yeah.
out. The first one came out. So
one. Yeah, it's been a
we've
while.
slept a lot since then.
Yeah. And I guess the other thing I could mention is the guns. There's a bunch of new guns. The roller came back, of course. That was really a big hit. And there's just the sniping one and all this stuff. They added that duel one, and I can't remember all the new ones they added. But
Oh,
they
the
added,
baller. It's like you run around in this hamster ball. I'm not exactly sure how you paint with it or anything. I think it's just like a shield, so you can like run through to the other team's area, and then when you burst out of it, you can shoot them. I think.
I think
Anyway,
it's
it looks really cool.
yeah, I think that's a special. I forget.
Oh, it's special? Okay.
Yeah,
I
think
want
it's
to try
special.
that out for sure.
Yeah, I forget which gun it's attached to. But you get the idea. There's new guns, new specials. They're all the specials are new. Some of the favorite guns are back with some added new ones. New mode, salmon mode, and then finally we get voice chat. So there's a lot of stuff added for the second one.
Exciting. I can't wait till the 21st. A few days away.
Yeah, so you said you'll be streaming on the 21st?
Most likely, I haven't set an event for sure yet or a time, but most likely that I will do something like that. And then we have 2 people that were involved with the Operation Make It Rain, Kotetsu Tokai and Fluffy Hamster 16. At least one of the 3 of us will be streaming on release day, if not all 3 of us. So,
And,
but on Twitter, I will definitely tweet out beforehand if I am.
You want to repeat your Twitter account one more time?
BWA_Swtich.
There you go. Till then, stay off the hook. Stay fresh.
I also wanted to
Yeah.
say it's great that you gathered around with your friends and are helping out this friend of yours that had that incident with the basement, and it's very nice that people are still doing these things for people that need that help.
Oh, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, wait, I didn't mention this earlier, but I actually went to Anime Midwest last weekend, and it's in Chicago, and so I got to meet Abdallah and his wife, and they are really awesome people. Like, basically the entire weekend, he had a panel that he had to do, like, right after he checked into the hotel.
Right.
But after that, basically the entire weekend, he spent with me and a couple of the other mods that came up. And he didn't have to do that. He could have ran around with his wife and just they did their own thing. But I don't know. I feel like he genuinely cares about his community. And he's done a lot of work building that up in the Nintendo community. So I felt like I had to do something.
No, that is cool. I mean, it's great. I mean, I'm going to be getting your info later to promote this on our Twitter page so that our followers can be involved as well.
Thank you so much. Yeah, anything anyone can do helps. No matter how small you think it is, it will help.
Mm-hmm.
So I appreciate that.
All right. Any last words, Javier? Or
No, I'm already off the hook and stay fresh.
Yes, stay fresh.
All right. Thanks, BWA.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good one.
You too.
Cheers.
We did a poll on July 13th. It lasted a couple days. Basically asking what's your go-to gaming device of choice and why. PlayStation 4, Xbox One, Nintendo Switch, PC. Those were all on the poll. And surprisingly, the Nintendo Switch came up.
Why is it a surprise?
Because it's a new system and doesn't have a lot of systems sold. So I was quite surprised that it was number 1, 45%. Number 2 was PS4 at 26%, and then Xbox One was at 18%, and PC was at 11%.
Well, first of all, that system's on fire right now. It's been used a lot. People are pushing for more games on it.
Yeah,
you
still can't find it in stores.
Well, it's a hot item because everybody's buying it as soon as it comes out.
And 2K Games announced this week or last week that they're releasing WWE 2K18 this fall.
Yeah, they announced it.
So that's good that Nintendo was able to get a deal, or at least with the developer, interest on porting the game over to the Switch. I mean, a lot of wrestling fans would enjoy having the portability of the Switch. Whether they're on the bus, on the train, in the car, and they're playing their favorite WWE game, or the only WWE game with their favorite wrestlers.
So why didn't you put like the PlayStation Pro and the Xbox X1, X2, X5, X?
Why the fuck would I do that? It's PlayStation 4 in general. That includes the Pro or whatever the heck they decide to call their future system. It's still in the PlayStation 4 family.
And why is PC so low? PC is free online gaming. The Steam sales are amazing. It should be much higher.
It should be, but again, I guess most people like playing on their consoles. I mean, I do. There's certain games that are PC only, like you said, Steam has a lot of PC only games, but
sales.
Yeah, there's sales, but still, a lot of people like playing on the Switch. It's portable. A lot of people like playing on the PlayStation because you get the Sony exclusive. A lot of people like the Xbox exclusive, which at this point, in my opinion, there's not much good Xbox.
But there's stuff like the Player Unknown Battleground. Example.
That's on the PC. Yeah.
And that's a really hot game right now.
It is.
And, so I'm surprised. No more. We should be more PC.
Yeah, I wanted to go through quickly some of the people's comments because I asked them to comment. So Anthony Campusano, hopefully if I butcher these names, please, I apologize in advance. He said, "Man, this one's tough. So far, it's a toss-up between the Switch and my handheld PC, with the PS4 in third. We got Will Perkin. He says Switch portability, the best concept ever. We have Strictly 64. I haven't touched my Switch since beating Zelda. It's gonna gather dust until Mario Odyssey. I spend at least 40 hours a week on the Xbox."
Even though he's strictly Nintendo 64.
I know, that's what I went into a conversation with him back and forth about it, but it's just I was just basically commenting on that he's strictly 64, so I thought he would be more Nintendo, but
he's just strictly Nintendo 64.
Yeah, exactly. And then Chancellor Oracle said Xbox One. It's not about the name or exclusives, LOL. I just simply love the environment and the communities I encounter. Lucas Hood III on Twitter said PS4 mostly. The exclusives. My friends and I love trophies. I do play on my Xbox One for Halo and Gears, though. And I replied, that's the only reason I play on the Xbox One. It's just for the occasional Halo or Gears. But that's as far as I go on the Xbox. And Neo Geo CD said Wii U, because I can't find a Switch in any stores, which is what I mentioned a second ago, that it's still not easy getting the Switches. Toys R Us has been very adamant about emailing, if you are part of their newsletter, that they'll let you know when they are getting Switches at their stores.
Or you could pay out the ass on eBay.
On eBay, exactly. And the last two, Jan on Twitter said it's mobile and yet has awesome graphics. So Nintendo Switch gets his vote. And the last one is Super Gamer Guy 64. Nintendo Switch, because I can play Splatoon, Zelda, Mario anywhere, and I can play it in bed before I go to sleep. So there you go. It's a very popular to play in bed and go to sleep. The Switch. Does that surprise you?
No. I mean, it's the strongest.
Do you play in
system.
bed before going to sleep?
No, I do other things before I go to sleep.
Can you elaborate?
No.
Too private.
Too private.
All right.
Too intense. And too intense.
Too intense. Well, it's like hardcore stuff. Okay, that's for another podcast down the line. But you tell me, what is going on with this tournament that everybody keeps talking about?
So it's called the Mae Young Classic. It's going to feature 32 women, and I'm thinking this is a great thing for the women wrestling. The women wrestling's been on the upswing because women wrestling used to be just eye candy. You'll get models, ex-models.
A quick little punch, a little kick, and there wasn't much into women's wrestling. At least when I used to watch
slaps, hair pulling.
There was very few technical wrestlers. I would say, I forgot her name, Lita. She was pretty good. Who else was?
Trish Stratus, but she was a model turned wrestler. But she
improved in the beginning. Trish, in her days, she was again just hair pulling, slapping. But then she put her time and she learned a lot of the moves as well, the technical aspects.
I would say more than just time, because some girls we've seen these models put in the time. I'm not saying they're not trying,
right?
But they're lacking something like the intensity,
right?
And it's like someone like Trish Stratus finally picked it up and got better. Some of these other girls, like Eva Marie, they give her all the time in the world, and she still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
that's true.
It's not an easy task, and it's not, another example actually would be Alexa Bliss. She was not a wrestler, indie wrestler. She was like a fitness competitor, like fitness, like
model,
bodybuilding.
Yeah, But in the past,
no-
you've mentioned on this podcast the like Stardom. There was an episode that you mentioned a lot about Stardom and a lot about the women in internationally, that they're like blowing up, getting huge, and WWE was seeing that and keeping an eye on that. So what's happening now with this tournament?
Yes, they did pick up several of those women I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Like later on, I'll mention some of these women, and they a lot of them actually have competed in Stardom. Also, another one will be Shimmer. So there are definitely a lot of indie stars here, and also a lot of girls who are just new. Like W picked them up, and they're like models or dancers or something.
Right.
And to me, that's an obvious, we're going to lose the first round kind of girl. Not to be, they're learning. They're not expected to win or anything.
So just to jump in, why do you think, your opinion, why do you think that WWE all of a sudden is focusing on this tournament?
Well, I say one thing. Triple H is behind this. It's not.
Yeah, I've seen him promoted a lot on Twitter.
Yeah, Triple H. Look, in the end, Triple H is a wrestler, and he understands what you have to go through to become a wrestler. Like we were complaining earlier about some of these models can't not wrestle.
Right.
I'm sure that bothered him, or he understood what it was about. But there's actually really good women wrestlers out there. He's giving them the stage, and just not only to bash Vince McMahon, he has let it happen on Raw and SmackDown to a certain degree.
Right.
He's picked up some of these great women that Triple H has had in NXT, and he puts them on Raw and SmackDown, and they're also having the stage. Sometimes, not all the time. It's still a struggle. Like when you have all the multi-women tag matches and they're in like the pre-show, it still happens. It's still a struggle on the main roster. But Triple H is definitely giving them all the chances in the world in NXT and with this tournament as well.
So this is Triple H's doing.
Yeah. I think he's a big part of women's wrestling and helping it get bigger in WWE.
So you think that's why all of a sudden, at least past few months, there's been a big push on this because of Triple H's eye for talent, and he's taken a notice that it's doing well internationally.
Right, and just because he's also in charge of actually hiring talent too.
Right.
He's like VP of talent relations,
mm-hmm.
and his the previous person who held that title, he just went ahead and mostly hired models and trained them, and then they would just be what they were.
Right.
Totally change the direction with Triple H.
Yeah.
Like I say, you'll still hire some of these models, and because like I said, you still could get good ones out of that. I'm not gonna totally bash them. Like we got Trish Stratus is a great example.
Right.
She was not indie wrestler.
No, she was a fitness model, just fitness, bodybuilding and stuff like that.
And another one, like I said earlier too, Alexa Bliss, another great example. So I'm not saying all of them, but you definitely should still take advantage of indie stars out there. They know how to wrestle and they do really well. Give them the stage.
Yeah,
and this is what this tournament's doing. It's giving them the stage, well-deserved stage.
Yeah, wherever there's a talent, you got to take advantage of that, and that's a good thing that Triple H is doing, and the WWE in general. It's about time, because like you mentioned it, and in the previous episode, I did some research after that, and I saw how much fan reaction and people get into these women all across the world, in Japan and even Australia and in the UK and England and Europe, that they like do their own tournaments, their own events, and they sell out like events all over the world because they're huge. They have a huge fan base.
I mean, just look at recently. We had Glow, that Netflix
special, yeah, and it's doing well according to what I've read online. Great reviews. People seem to love it. So it's great that all these women wrestling, all of a sudden women wrestling is getting a big spotlight, especially this year.
Yeah, so it's definitely a big upswing. So like even in terms of commentating, we have Medusa, who was Linda Blaze in WWE.
Right.
She was a big influence to a lot of women wrestlers. She was one of the big women wrestlers of the 90s, and she went to East WCW and threw the WWE Women's title in the trash. Like, she has a footprint in history.
Right.
Another commentator we have here is Lita. We just talked about her. She was from the Attitude Era.
Is that why she was on? I saw her recently on some event.
Yeah, she's probably promoting this, and she's part of the commentating team.
Okay.
And obviously she's an experienced wrestler.
Yeah.
People know her from the Attitude Era, the Hardys and stuff, and well established wrestler here. And then we have JR. Now JR has been getting a lot of basically crap thrown at him, and I'll say this about
poor JR. Tell me about it.
So this let me explain the stem of the problem. Why everybody's kind of against him a little bit now. So he did a commentating recently in the beginning of July for New Japan Pro Wrestling, and he did it live for the G1 American special.
Okay.
It was a 2-day event, and what he usually does, he does commentating for Access TV for New Japan, but it's in a studio. It's delayed, as in months delayed. So they'll do a match. He'll commentate for a match, and the match took place like 8 months ago. So he's way behind the storylines.
Right.
So I give him that. So when this pay-per-view happened or special, Access TV covered the day 1 live, and then day 2 they aired it the next week, but it was live on New Japan World, and New Japan World actually still used JR and Josh Barnett. If you might remember from UFC.
UFC, yeah, he's a heavyweight, former heavyweight fighter from UFC, yeah.
Yeah, so him and JR do the commentating. So they still did it for day 2. Usually New Japan World uses Kevin Kelly and Don Callis.
Mm-hmm.
And they do a really good job. They know the product, and they're have a lot of passion for it. Don Callis has gone to Japan before and wrestled. He watches New Japan. He has a podcast with Lance Storm, and they talk about New Japan quite a bit. So they're definitely passionate about it. Now versus Josh Barnett and JR.
Right.
Josh Barnett does have history with New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
He actually has trained in terms of shoot fighting, because New Japan likes to train the wrestlers also to actually really how to fight, like judo and stuff,
right?
Jiu-jitsu, and so he has some history there. And then we have JR. Now JR replaced Mauro Ranallo when he used to commentate for New Japan. Mauro Ranallo had obvious passion and knew who the wrestlers were. You could tell when he was doing commentating for SmackDown, he would mention some of these Japanese wrestlers and use the Japanese names of the moves. JR, his history is all American. He's never talked about Japanese wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
He's super passionate about WWE. And so when he started commentating for New Japan on Access TV, which I used to watch all the time, I hated it when he came in. All he did was compare these wrestlers to WWE wrestlers. He would, and then he would also. He did it once.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't believe it.
What do you do?
He plugged WWE Network on New
New
Japan
Japan Wrestling.
Yeah.
What the fuck? On purpose, or you think it's accidental?
On purpose. If you just hear him, he is super pro
is
WWE.
That shit on YouTube? I have to listen to this.
I'm surprised not more people are up for it. I don't think that many people actually watch it on Access TV.
They probably don't.
Because I think the only way to really watch it is DirecTV, to be honest.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, and I'm not throwing shade for him to loving WWE. That's fine. I love WWE too. But if you gotta calm down there and try to be a passion of the actual product you're commentating for.
Yeah.
And follow it and talk about it.
Yeah, you gotta.
And
sell it.
On his podcast, he barely talks about New Japan. And sometimes he'll never even talk about it. The guy doesn't know anybody. And so anyways, what happens is the special airs. He's doing the commentating, and this is live. This is not a studio thing.
Uh-huh.
There was wrestlers, he did not know who their names were. There were wrestlers, he mixed their names up.
Holy fuck.
Example, Bushi and Evil came out. He confused them. He called Evil Bushi, and he called Bushi Evil.
Holy fuck.
Yeah. And then Takashi came out with this plush cat, and JR's like, obviously it's a big thing because he's coming out with the cat and hugging it and everything.
Right.
And JR's like, what the hell is this? He didn't know what the guy was doing or what the story behind the cat was. And no one informed him, or he never did his research either on the wrestler.
And this is all that went down recently.
Yeah, this is the beginning of July.
Uh-huh.
July, I think, 1 and 2. And so there's other things, and I'm going to go through everything here that happened. And he got a lot of crap about it because it's like...
What do you think? I want to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts about all this that just unfolded?
Just to mention, too, Josh Barnett is not innocent here either.
Of course.
Actually, not only did fans backlash on him, wrestlers backlashed on him. The wrestlers have not backlashed on JR really, as far as I could tell. But Josh Barnett was not very pro Young Bucks, and kind of threw some shade down their way, and they did not appreciate it and have been vocal about it. And other members of the Bullet Club have also been vocal against Josh Barnett, because Josh Barnett basically saying he's more very old school, and the way the Young Bucks wrestle is not to his liking.
Right.
Anyways, so JR, what I think about him, I think he's a great commentator, but to me, it's always been really obvious. He is WWE.
He's out of his element.
He's out of his element. He's not passionate about the product. He doesn't know these wrestlers as much as you would think. So and he doesn't follow it.
Why would he agree to something like this? You think he needs a paycheck?
Mark Cuban is the owner of Access TV. Now, something I can tell you, he'll easily say it all the time in his podcast too. He talks highly of Mark Cuban because he's giving him his paychecks.
Of course.
So he has
to
he has loyalty to him.
Right.
But he has no loyalty to New Japan. I mean, I understand that. Like, Access TV, Mark Cuban are the one paying him to commentate for this show. But when you're commenting, the product itself you're commentating on, you're not passionate about. You don't know what's happening, or you're not following it yourself.
Yeah, why the fuck do it to begin with? There's no reason.
Then it becomes obvious what's happening here. You're hired because of your name value.
Yeah.
Not because you could commentate to the expected level for this promotion. So I think he's fine as a commentator for WWE. This is women's special. I can tell already a huge difference because they had like a parade. When I say a parade, they just had an intro for all the 32 women in this tournament.
Right.
And he talked about each of them, and he knew who they were, and he talked about some of their past. Now I'm sure he doesn't know them that well. Like someone like Toni Storm, he knew what she has and stuff, but he didn't. I'm sure he doesn't know that much about her. I'm sure. So some of these women, at least he gets some information on it, and they're in the WWE ring, so he doesn't have to worry too much about not being pro WWE because you're in WWE special. And some of these women he would know, like Tessa Blanchard. You know, obviously her last name, daughter of one of the Four Horsemen. And he is a big fan of the Four Horsemen. So I'm sure he'll do just fine in this special. I really don't like him commentating in New Japan. And I'm not being mean against him or anything. He's just...
Well, fuck it. You can be mean if you want. I mean, but even though you're not, but he's just clearly doesn't know his shit when it comes to New Japan.
He's not passionate about it, and it shows. And he's super passionate. I actually wish he wasn't the commentator in New Japan for Access TV. Wish it was somebody else. I wish it was Morrow. Morrow actually knew.
What do you think should be done with JR and Access TV?
I think Morrow should go back to that spot. And he knows the product and he's passionate about it. I mean, JR is doing both WWE and WWE. I mean, WWE and
Did Morrow leave?
Yeah, so JR is commentating for this special. He does commentate for like specials for WWE.
Right.
So I'm saying he should continue the trend and with Morrow could do WWE stuff and still New Japan. But in the end, I'll throw it this way: Kevin Kelly and Don Callis on New Japan World. So they do the commentating for just New Japan World, which is their just subscription, app.
Right.
They do an awesome job, especially Don Callis. He's probably actually the best color commentator right now in the business, in my opinion. And Kevin Kelly, I know he gets some, here and there, people don't like him, but I think he's actually really good. So you might remember him because he used to interview The Rock backstage, and The Rock would make fun of him.
Oh yes, I remember.
Anyways, he's a good comment. I think he's a good, play-by-play guy, and he's fine. I think he's good. It's just Don Callis. I think, color commentator, he's up there.
Yeah, they should give somebody else a chance. Access TV or Mark Cuban. There's a lot of passionate, whether they're fans or people in the actual industry of commentating that know New Japan and would be more than willing to commentate on it instead of just putting a big name commentator like JR who doesn't know shit about it and literally just messes things up.
Like when I used to watch it on Access TV, because now I just watch it through New Japan World.
Right.
He would compare Makabe all the time to Bruiser Brody, and I'm like, how many times are you gonna do this, dude?
That's like, all he had to go. He has to talk. So if a commentator, I mean, I know his situation. Putting myself in his shoes, he doesn't know anything about these people, so he has to fill in that empty silence. So he has to talk. So he just repeats the same shit over and over. He's comparing them.
I think he'll be fine in the tournament here. I know he won't know everybody that well. Some of them he will know, and he has 2 women wrestlers with him. I think he'll be fine for this one. New Japan no.
No way, no more.
So let's talk about some of these women. So I already mentioned on Twitter my 2 favorites to win this tournament.
Which are?
So my first one is Kairi Hojo. They renamed her to Kairi Sane. I think I pronounce it Sane.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
She was basically the number 2 in Stardom, behind Io Shirai, and she has this whole pirate gimmick going on, the Princess Pirate, and it works really well, and she wrestles extremely well. One thing she's known for is her elbow drop, but overall she's very intense. You see her, you don't think, oh, she's a killer, but she wrestles really well.
Her background is Stardom. She was a champion at Stardom, or no?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. She held most of the titles in that, except for the main one, because Io Shirai, she held that title forever. She also recently left Stardom, but she is not in this tournament. So she would have been my favorite if she was in this tournament. She is the best women wrestler right there in the world. So, but she's not in this tournament, like I said. As far as I know, she has injuries, so she's just healing up.
Okay.
But she has done WWE tryouts, so I assume she's getting hired. Especially that she left Stardom, she was the champion for like over 400 days, in the run she was doing before she dropped it.
Right.
Another competitor for Stardom. She's also in Progress, which is a promotion out in Europe, the UK scene. She's the current SWA champion in Stardom, and Progress, the women's champion. I only seen her in Stardom. She has impressed me. She is one of the best out there too. She has to be in the talks for top 5 out there in the world right now. To me, she would have been a heavy favorite to win this tournament. But if anything tells us from the CWC from earlier last year, whoever's going to win is going to be someone who's already signed to the company, to WWE. And she's the champion of 2 other promotions. I don't see her winning. I think she'll do well, but I don't see her winning. But I think this is a great chance to see how well she does and how good she is. If they let her, that's another thing. But I think this tournament will let each woman show off.
They'll be allowed to shine. That's what the tournament will do. It's just the spotlight on all this talent from all over the world.
Yeah. So another one, they changed her name, so that tells me she's probably signed. I mean, why would you change your name when you're already you have an established name in the Indies?
Right.
So her name in WWE is going to be Piper Niven, and out in the world, she is known as Viper. I can see actually even the name change because you have Randy Orton, the Viper,
known as the Vixen of Violence.
Yeah. I saw her in Stardom. She had a recent tour in Stardom, like back in the spring. She also impressed me for a big woman wrestler. She handled herself very well, and she could do a lot in the ring. She was known for being a women's champion in ICW. So I expect high things from her. Once again, my only experience with her is in Stardom, but even there, she was doing really well. And I would hope, and the fact that she changed her name makes me think she's going to go very far in the tournament.
Right.
So we'll see. Another one I want to talk about is Dakota Kai. This is another wrestler that changed her name. Out in the Indies, she was known as Evie. I saw her in Stardom too, and she did really well in the match I saw her. So I expect high things from her too. But the fact that she changed her name, like I said, I think she's signed. So I think she will go far in this tournament as well. Another person, the same thing, changed their name. She's known as Alpha Female.
Jazzy Gabbert?
Yeah, that's her name in WWE.
She was a former MMA in Europe. MMA
yeah, she has had a few MMA matches in her belt. I mean, you just look at her, you see, I'm going to kick your ass.
Yeah, she's fucking intimidating, dude. I wouldn't want to cross paths with her.
Right. I saw her in the parade. She was standing next to like the other women wrestlers, and she was quite taller. She seemed much taller than some of them. The alpha female is a proper title for this one. I would think she would go far, especially with the name change, and I hope so. I think she'll at least turn heads. And then another one, Kaylee Ray. I also saw her in Stardom, but she's been in several promotions, including Shimmer, ICW, Shine, even Impact Wrestling. She did not change her name, so I don't think she's going to go very far because of that. But she's great, so hopefully she really gets to showcase her talent. And then another one is Candice LeRae. She's actually I actually have a DVD of The Cutest Couple, which is her and Joey Ryan, who's currently in Lucha Underground. But she will even get bloodied up in a match, like bleed and everything. She will wrestle intense and it's not afraid. I've seen her, so that DVD was from PWG. That's the only way I've seen her. But just a little side note here: she's also married to a current NXT star, which is Johnny Gargano. No name change here, so I don't know how far she's gonna go. Like most of the women wrestlers, they've changed their names that stick around. So I don't think she'll go very far. But
for
she's
people
very
that
good.
don't know, why is it that they changed their name?
Just to own their name.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure. Yeah. WWE likes to own almost everything that a wrestler does, even including their name. So that's why a lot of them have these name changes. For those that
Like
didn't
even
know.
example, Asuka, who's the dominant NXT champion right now.
Right.
She did not go by Asuka in Japan. It was Kana. They changed their name,
Mm-hmm.
and they own the name.
Yep. So,
Yeah. And I'm gonna go just to two more. Well, actually, these two more wrestlers. Santana Garrett.
mm-hmm.
I saw her in Stardom as well. But she's big time in Shimmer a lot too. She's overall a great talent. Very good in the ring. Beautiful. I think once she kept her name, so I don't think she's going far either. I know she's been in Impact, but I don't make Impact much of a deal anymore. It's not doing good anymore to me.
Really?
Yeah, Impact has been suffering for quite a while now. I think they even changed their names now to like GFW. It's just to me, it's a mess. and then the last one I'm going to mention is going to be Shayna Baszler. How you say your name again?
Baszler?
Baszler. Yeah, sorry, I do suck with pronouncing names. So the Queen of Spades is her nickname. She is one of the 4 horsewomen of MMA, along with Ronda Rousey. So she is friends with Ronda Rousey. She has an extensive MMA career, and I do follow her a little bit. And I saw her in Stardom during the spring. She is really good in the ring. She's imitating. She has an MMA look to her. I've seen a few things from her, like Q&As and stuff out of her.
Mm-hmm.
She is kind of in love with WWE. Not WWE, but wrestling. She says in MMA, the fans don't appreciate the fighters enough. Like, it's just kind of like, go fight, and if you start losing or something, you don't have that appreciation. They don't appreciate you going in the ring and fighting, and stuff behind the scenes that she would do to help promote the MMA, get legalized in states and stuff like that.
That's a totally different thing, though, when it comes to MMA and wrestling. MMA is... what's the term that I can put it without... well, everybody knows. MMA is you're fighting to win. Yeah, it's not much entertainment like value like WWE or any other wrestling league. MMA is you're out there to win. So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about, that they don't value you. I mean, obviously, if you start on a losing streak in MMA, your name and your value to that league or that sport is gonna quickly drop. Maybe you weren't cut out for MMA.
Well, so I'll put it this way. She did really well in most of her career MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Towards the end, she started losing a lot.
Right.
And
it happens. It happens a lot.
I think women's MMA has really evolved and
it's grown a lot. In the last 5
Yeah.
years, it's grown a ton. There's a lot of women MMA. I mean, I haven't been watching it this past month. I've been busy traveling, but there's a lot of women, good fighters out there.
Yeah, so I would say, but so your value, and not only your value, your appreciation for you, only is tied heavily to winning.
Yeah, it's like any competitive sport, whether it's boxing, you go. It's all about you're out there to win. You're not out there to put a show. So like WWE, at WWE you can lose a match, but if you have a good show and if you have a good match in WWE, those people, and you can back me up, Javier, because you know this. When people lose, whether it's women or men, and they lose, but the match was so fucking awesome, they will love that match and possibly even call it the best match of the month or even the year.
Yeah, and they'll be behind both wrestlers. 'Cause
Exactly.
It takes two to tango.
Right, because both of them have to be on their A game, top level, to put on a good show. And wrestling is about it's entertainment. Like Chavo was recently on a podcast promoting Glow. Just a quick mention of that. And Chavo said that, look, wrestling and any other sport, whether it's MMA or boxing, it's completely different. He said it best. He said wrestling is entertainment. We're there to put on a show. We're not there to do anything else but put on a show for 15, 20 minutes, 30 minutes at times. And that's the goal. We're there to entertain you. You're paying to see entertainment. It's not like MMA where you pay top dollar and in 2 minutes the person gets knocked out and you're like, whoa, that's it. The match is over. That was a shitty match. So yeah, in MMA or boxing, you get a lot of that. That was not worth my money. I paid $60 for this pay-per-view and the match was over in 10 seconds. She got knocked out. In wrestling, you pay $60 or whatever it is the pay-per-view goes for, and in wrestling, you get a good match, 15 minutes or so with that particular match. So it's completely different.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. It's different, and I can see her point. She wants to be appreciated for all the work she's put into something.
Then MMA's or any other competitive sport is not for her. She needs to get the fuck out, and if she wants to do wrestling, which is what she's trying, then stick with wrestling.
Not trying. That's what she's doing.
Right. That's what she's doing. So
and successfully.
Exactly. She needs to stick. She needs to stick with wrestling then if she wants to, just the fame and fortune of being in the spotlight. Because in MMA or boxing or any other competitive sport, it's not gonna happen for her.
Well, she's my other favorite to win this tournament, and she didn't change her name either. But I've heard she got signed, and that's someone I can see actually keeping her name because she has value to it because of the MMA world.
Right.
And obviously,
That
like
makes
Brock
sense.
Lesnar never changed his name.
Nope.
So I think I heard she was signed, or at least looked at. So she's keeping her name. This could be one of those things that one of those rare occurrences when actually you keep your name. So hopefully she actually is signed and kept her name, and does super well in this tournament. And then I would actually be one of my top two to win the tournament. So that's all I really have to say about the tournament, and I'm really happy and excited for it, and can't wait to see it.
Okay, so you mentioned your top favorites in this tournament. Who, if you were to pick one, who would you pick to come out on top? Like if you were, prediction.
Honestly, it's because I know she's signed. It's Kairi, so I guess she's number one, and she's a lot on people's number one, so it's kind of predictable for her to win. So it'll be kind of weird if she won.
So
not that weird, but
if you did not know anything about her being signed, would you still pick her as the winner of the tournament?
in terms of skill wise, she actually might be. She's possibly the best in all of these women.
Okay.
It's really up to. That's the problem. It's wrestling. You don't have to be the very best to win.
Right.
So, actually, just to be not so predictable, I'm gonna go Shayna that she wins.
So your prediction is that she's gonna win.
Yeah, the Queen of Spades.
You would bet money that she wins this tournament.
Yeah, I think Kairi is. I mean, to me, it's an easy story. She wins the tournament and she challenges Asuka, and it's an easy story. And I think it's too predictable. I think too many people think she's gonna win. It's funny how she got popular because she's never wrestled in the States or anywhere else, as far as I know, besides Stardom. And Stardom is not as popular as you think it is. I'm the only one who actually knows that watches it. I could go on Reddit and stuff, and there's people watching it, but I don't hear it as much as I would like out of it. To me, Shayna is just she could win, and obviously a very believable that she beats Asuka too. I don't know if the woman who wins this is gonna actually fight Asuka or not. To me, it's a setup. You should be able to face the actual champion if you win a tournament.
Yeah.
But we'll see. I guess since we're wrapping up, just one thing I'd like to mention about this tournament. If it's like the WCW, actually, not WCW.
WWE.
No, but the CWC, the Cruiserweight Classic.
Right.
What they did there is a lot of the first rounds were a lot of people who were not as experienced, which this tournament has plenty of those girls in it. And why would you have them? It's, they need someone needs to lose. So I think a lot of these girls are gonna be knocked out first round. I think almost all of them will be. And I'm gonna mention people like, I don't know,
what,
like Vanessa Bourne,
right?
Former cheerleader. She's an NXT trained. Yeah, I think she's gonna lose, not because of skill or something. Oh, I'll say skill, but she's just not experienced enough and is still learning. So I don't think like she's gonna be knocked out the first round. So someone like that, I expect to be knocked out the first round, and then people who will make it a little further, like an XWE person like Serena, and then someone more, established like Mia Yim. I didn't mention her, but she was from Impact. She's been in other stuff too, to like Shine. So I think someone like her will go further along than anybody. I just mentioned like Vanessa Bourne, someone who's just not experienced.
And
I don't don't like that when you do that. I'd rather the tournament just be full of the best, and you don't get that here. I don't get this in comparison against the G1 in New Japan.
Mm-hmm.
G1's their biggest tournament, but everybody in that tournament is a somebody. There's people in the lower card in the tournament, but they're all somebodies. They're not. Oh, you don't put Young Lions, example, in this tournament, because there's an obvious they're going to lose just about all their matches, and that's different. That's something different too. They're not elimination tournaments like WWE does them. The New Japan does round robin, so you face everybody in your bracket. So it's very different, and I actually prefer the way New Japan does it. But WWE basically elimination. A lot of these inexperienced girls are going to be eliminated in the first round, and then it gets more intense after that one, after the first round.
And when can we look forward to this airing?
I forget the exact date, but I know it's towards the end of August. They already started taping it, but they're not going to release those matches till the end of August.
Okay, so there's no date yet?
There is. I just honestly forgot. It's just towards the end of August.
All right. When we record the intro, we'll make sure to add this in the description of the episode, the exact dates. We'll also tweet about it on at Bits For You podcast. That way you guys can look forward to that. Anything else?
No, that's it.
All right. So that's the name of the tournament is the
Mae Young Classic.
There you go. The contest is still going on for the Bebop DVD set and DVD movie. We have I'm gonna ask 5 questions, and Javier is going to say if the question is correct or not correct, and that'll give you guys clues to try to guess the title of the movie. So we're picking a movie that was released from 1970 until present. That way it makes it easier because there's a shit ton of movies to go through. Javier, did I leave anything else out for the contest, or that pretty much sums it up?
That sums it up.
Okay, so I'll begin with the first question. Let's see. So question 1, is this film released in the 2010 until now?
No.
2000, January 1st, 2000 until December 31st, 2009? 2010?
No. So basically the past 7 years. He says it's 2010. So no, it's not that recent.
Oh, okay. Is it... All right, so that's how many questions? 2? That's 2, I think.
You said that was one question, right? You said from 19...
No, because I was asking you one question, though.
So that's one more question. Okay, go ahead.
Is this a science fiction?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's not. If you looked it up, it wouldn't say it, but kinda is. Okay. I'll put it that way. It's not labeled as such. How about that?
All right. Let's see. And is this a movie released in the 1980s?
Yes.
Oh. That's 3 questions, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, 3 questions. Let's see, what other questions can we ask? Does it have action? Science fiction action?
Yeah, I mean, I'll go ahead and say let's not call this a sci-fi. I mean, I think it's just safer not to say it's sci-fi. It's not sci-fi. So, action, very little. It does, but not a lot.
Okay, so that's 4. One more question to wrap up this week's contest of questions. Is it a... I don't know why it's sticking out. Is it a Steven Spielberg directed film?
No. And it's 5. I'll give you a freebie by saying it is a well-known director.
Okay. Wow, a freebie. There you go. You guys got a freebie. You guys got to send us questions at Bits For You podcast. We'll read some of them. And if you guys can figure out the title, send us that as well. And if you guess it correctly, you will win the DVD set and movie of Cowboy Bebop, the entire series. So let's go into the review of episodes 5 through 10 of Bebop. And Javier, I'll let you start off with episode 5.
Sure. So, episode 5, we get to see Vicious. That's basically the main thing from this episode.
And that's what he was foreshadowed in the first episode, in that little scene, in the black and white scene, right?
Right, but this is like him and Spike will interact.
Right.
This is the first time you'll see it in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a fight that happens towards the end. So just to FYI to the audience, we're not gonna go through details like we used to. We're gonna go to the importance and what it does for the character too for the show. So to me, this is about Vicious and Spike. Spike is a little mysterious. Jet doesn't seem to know anything about Spike's past.
Yeah.
And we're kind of giving a little like, well, who's this? Like the blonde woman that we see him in a flashback that she's healing him.
Mm-hmm.
Who is she? Because obviously she's some importance to him. And Vicious is definitely at one point was close to him as well. So what's happening? What's the relationship between Spike and Vicious? What is the relationship between him and his blonde woman? And when will anybody else really know much more about this? Faye got into this a little bit, but she obviously didn't know the full story.
But we were watching the episode. I noticed that he was buddies with Vicious. So wouldn't it make it seem like they're part of the same syndicate? Yeah, something. I mean, maybe they're related. We don't know. Yeah, they didn't go into great detail about that. You do see a scene where they're in a shootout, and I think it's in black and white, and they're just kind of like happy, or kind of like having
it just
a good
looks
time.
Very different.
Yeah,
like he's very happy and nice to him. So something happened. Why did Vicious turn on him like that? What was their relationship? And Spike is a mysterious character, so we kind of this unfolds him a little bit.
And what did you think? What did you like of this episode?
Yeah, I like that we actually get to see a little bit more about Spike. We got a little bit more mystery, so some questions to occur for the series. We also get to see Faye kind of act on her own as well. She went on to this on her own, so it kind of builds like she's strong and independent. Although she does silly and dumb decisions sometimes because she's kind of rash, but she does have that sense of I'm strong and I'm independent.
Yeah, I also liked a lot of the action sequences that they showed Spike in the church against the Syndicate and Vicious. Vicious's henchmen. It reminded me a lot of the again, like this anime is influenced a lot by movies in general. For example, that scene reminded me a little bit about the John Woo action Hong Kong film not Horrible, The Killers, with Chow Yun-fat as the lead. There was towards the end there was a big shootout at the church. So the movie goes into that gunplay of the Hong Kong style actioneers from the 80s and 90s, and I grew up watching that. So that was I like the choreographed action in this in that episode as well. a lot of gun battles in that episode. Like you said, we know a little bit. We just get a hint of Spike, but again, the only thing that I would say that I was a con or didn't like it much was that it just leaves it kind of open. He has
I think it's a con.
Has that battle with Vicious, right? It has that battle with Vicious. There was a cool twist at the end when he drops the grenade, and is Vicious dead or not? They don't really show a body, right?
No, they don't.
Yeah, that's just the church blows up when he drops the grenade.
Yep.
Yeah, and then there was some humor in there at the end. Obviously, how Spike. So at the end, Spike is covered in bandages. Faye's taking care of him. She was humming a song because he remembered there was a flashback to that blonde lady that when she was taking care of him, she was humming a song or singing. So Spike signals to Faye to come over closer, and he whispers in her ear, "You're off tune." That's a Spike humor, and that shit cracks me up in that episode. That's at the very end.
Yeah, he's straightforward.
Yeah, he's like, you're off tune. So that's that. We'll go. Next episode is Sympathy for the Devil.
Yeah, in this episode, this is kind of a side adventure. This episode doesn't really impact the story.
Mm-hmm.
To me, the only thing that was kind of important in this episode was in the beginning that there was like a flashback of them doing some kind of experiments on Spike. So what is that about? What's like once again, Spike's a kind of mysterious character. Did they do something to him? Did they alter him? What's up with Spike?
Exactly. So it's basically Spike and Jet. They're chasing the dangerous enemy. It's we see him as a boy, but we find out that the boy has a genetic, I guess you could say it's a defect that happened with the meteor shower on Earth, and it made him ageless. So I don't even know how many decades old.
Yeah, he's like when it gets reversed in the end. In the end, he basically dies from old age.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, that was sort of like a filler episode. It was just to.
I don't know of the manga for this, so I don't know if it's really filler because this is not even a long series.
Yeah, it's just one season.
It's just they have an adventure and it does not really impact the story. You did get the flashback in the beginning that will probably impact this. That will impact the series, but not much more than that.
Yeah, it was just a quick. It was a short episode. There's really not much else to say besides what Javier just said. So. It was a good one. There's some cool little action scenes with him and the boy in the warehouse, and that's that. The next episode we have here is one that I liked, even though I think it's sort of fillerish, but it was a very fun episode. Good character. It's called Heavy Metal Queen is the name of the episode.
It's episode 7.
Yes. So Javier, give us let me hear your pros and cons of this episode.
Yeah, once again, the story doesn't really affect. The story of this episode doesn't affect the overall story. What you get out of it, to me, is that the Spike is not the usual bounty hunter because they compare him to other bounty hunters in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not the usual, like, dirty, rotten bounty hunter. He has, moral. He has respect. So...
Yeah, you even see in the next couple episodes, Spike has more of a heart. He actually cares, as he cares about who he's chasing for a bounty and who he's not chasing. And if it's somebody that's not worth it, he'll flat out say, "I'm not gonna chase him. You guys do it on your own." That's in the next episode or the future episode. But this episode, like you mentioned, the character is a space trucker named VT. That's all we know. So there's an ongoing joke that other truckers are trying to guess her actual name, what VT stands for. Only very few people know the name, and towards the end, Spike guesses the name. What was the name? Do you remember?
I know her name was VT, but I don't know the actual name.
Victoria, I forgot the last name, but it comes in the reason he figures it out because she was mentioning that she doesn't like bounty hunters. Spike sees something. I think it was a photograph.
I forget, to be honest.
Yeah, I think it was a photograph. And then the photograph, Spike recognizes that it's her, a few years younger, and her husband, her dead husband, who was a bounty hunter that Spike knows, and that's what triggered Spike to say her name. And then if you guess the name, she'll give you the money that she's collected over people that are betting to guess a name. And Spike didn't ask for the. See, that's the thing about Spike. So, like, unlike other bounty hunters, they probably would have taken the entire stash of money. And Spike was like, "Nope, he just took the bill that he needed to do whatever it was. I forgot what he did with that bill."
Yeah, this episode definitely showed a lot about Spike's character, and that's what this episode really accomplished.
Yeah, it didn't really have to do anything with the full story that's happening in the series, but it was still an entertaining series and had its humor in it as well.
Yeah. So episode 8. Do you remember the name of the title?
It's Waltz for Venus.
Right. That's right. So for this one, I'm gonna focus on his fighting style because this comes up in this episode.
Yes.
Because there's someone in the beginning there's some kind of incident on a plane.
Hijackers.
And this guy, it's like a hijacking, and
3
Spike
people.
And Spike and company stop it. This guy in the plane sees this happening, and he wants to get trained by Spike because he could tell Spike is, very strong, not in the sense of like strength wise, but like fighting wise.
Yeah, but you gotta talk about a little bit about that scene in the plane because that shit was hilarious. Like everybody is just freaking out and scared, and this guy who's wealthy is like, "Oh, I'll give you money, just leave me alone." And one of the thugs hits him. It's 2 thugs and a woman, and Spike has he's sleeping in the plane, but he has that cover over his eyes. So he gets up, and the guy's trying to tell him to wake up, and Spike just flips him over. And that's you mentioned. That's when that teenage kid sees him and wants Spike to train him. But that whole scene was hilarious, at least to me, how Spike handles it.
Yeah, and because that's basically how he's got to train this guy. He says, "Look, you gotta flow like water, control the flow," because he's not about strength. Because you see it. He kind of almost looks accidental what he's doing, but it's not accidental. It's on purpose.
Right.
It's the way he attacks.
And the way exactly. That's part of the Jeet Kune Do skills. Like Bruce Lee. For any of you that have seen Bruce Lee movies, you guys know that when and even Jackie Chan movies, but mostly Bruce Lee, he makes it seem like it's accidental, but not really. He just moves out of the way and uses your energy to take you down. And that's what Spike was doing with all these thugs. Very little force. He just moves out of the way, or he trips you, takes his foot out, you trip on it, and then you fall. Spike takes you in for getting in the way.
Yeah. So besides that, because really we just get insight in his fighting style. Faye, she just goes off and does her own thing again. This once again shows you that she doesn't think ahead. What did you think?
She's very she's selfish. That's pretty much what it is, and it comes into play in the next episode that we'll talk about. But she is selfish. She takes some money of the bounty, and she's like, "I'm gonna go to the casino." I think it was in this episode. So she goes off and does her own thing. Yep.
So it really describes her.
That sums up her, and that sums up the episode. Unless there's something else you wanted to add.
No, those are 2 most important things in this episode to me.
Yeah.
Once again, all the other stuff doesn't add to the full story. This is more. These past few episodes are all like character development.
But there was a scene now. Here's where we want to get into it. I forgot to mention. So Rocco is the teenager's name. He has a sister. The sister's blind. And he has it's an object, a MacGuffin. MacGuffin is something that's used to move the story forward. So in this episode, it's a plant because they're in Venus, and there's a sickness in Venus that I guess makes people blind or has different effects. His sister is blind, so he's told that this plant, or they didn't make it clear. Was it the plant that heals her or something else?
I think it was like the seeds of the plant or something.
Yeah, something like that. So the brother wants to take it to his sister so she can get the surgery and be able to see again. In the gun battle with Rocco's former gang, he gets killed. And Spike is since Spike had connected with him and he was kind of becoming close to the kid, teaching him the ways of Jeet Kune Do. You can tell Spike it's affected. He's like, don't die on me. I'm gonna go get help. They don't really show it, but you kind of get a hint when Spike confronts the sister, and the sister is before she gets her surgery, or is it after? I'm confused. During the surgery, or I mean not during, but after the surgery, she's like, okay, where's Rocco? Is he coming? And then no, this is before the surgery. I remember now because she touches his face. She still can't see. And she touches Spike's face. And she can sense that Spike is sad. And she's like, he's dead. And Spike says yes. So you see a little bit of Spike's kindness in that episode.
Yep. And then the last one we're going to talk about is episode 9.
I thought it was 10, sir. Are we doing 9?
No, just 9.
Oh, no 10?
No.
Okay, so jamming with Edward.
Yep. So this is the introduction to a new character, Ed. She is young. She's about 13. And she's a big fan of the Bebop.
You said she, but everybody thinks that it's a he at first.
Right. There's a play on that because she's young and you can't really tell.
Yeah, you can't tell if it's a boy or really a boy or really a girl.
Yeah, and they play around with that. But because she's a girl, this young girl who's tomboyish. That's what happens here.
Yeah.
And so basically, this whole episode's about the introduction of Ed and how she gets on board and she joins the crew, which is basically she extorts them to make her a crew member by helping them.
Yeah, so basically she becomes friends with an AI, a satellite, a weather satellite that it became lonely. Earth is pretty much in ruins. The people of Earth are pretty much living underground because of whatever, what was it? I think it was the moon or something. Asteroids hit Earth and it's just in ruins. So this space satellite became lonely. Ed hacked the satellite, said, let's be friends. There's a bounty on the satellite, and that's where Jet, Spike, and Faye come in. And they end up helping Ed take the satellite, turning it into the police to collect the bounty. And in the end, they don't really collect the bounty because the cowboys that report on the bounties on TV says that you cannot collect on a bounty on something that's not human or alive.
Yep.
So in the end, Ed makes a deal with Faye to become a member of the team.
Yeah, and just to describe Ed here a little bit, very different from the rest of the crew. She's very eccentric.
Mm-hmm.
She's young. She's 13, so she's very childish, plays around a lot, but she's very resourceful, and she's considered a genius, and obviously helped them with this complex mission.
Yeah, and towards the end of the episode, this is another scene that cracks me up when Spike, has mostly a man of few words, but when he does have things to say, it's very, it could be either powerful or just funny. So towards the end, he tells Jet, there's 3 things that I hate: kids, animals, and women with attitudes. And Jet says, yes, I know. And then Spike says, then why the hell do we have all of that on the ship? And that's pretty much how the episode ends.
Yep, a lot of diversity in the ship, a different crew. So the episode, so the show is shaping up. That's basically going to be all the crew members of the show.
Yeah, so we are already introduced to all the members. Ein, the dog, and Edward, or Ed, the 13-year-old hacker girl.
Yep.
Anything else you want to add, sir?
I still think the show is overrated, but it's a good show.
You still think it's overrated?
Yeah, I'm watching it again. I'm enjoying it. I'm not trying to say anything bad about it, but I do think people put this way too high. So, in a list of top favorite animes, this is to me not top 10 material.
Hey, off topic. Did you? I don't know if you are aware of this, but somebody on Facebook posted a trailer for Full Metal Alchemist live action. I didn't even know that they were making one, but it's coming out
in Japan. Yeah.
Yeah. I wonder if it's going to be coming out here.
I don't know.
Is that something you would watch at the cinema?
I don't know.
You're not a fan of Full Metal Alchemist? I thought you were.
No, I am. It's just anime and Hollywood. They don't usually do well.
What do you mean Hollywood? This is a Japanese production.
Oh, you talk about. I thought you asked me if they bring it over here.
No. That it's the Japanese movie with Japanese actors. It's being released. I think they're releasing it in America, in American cinemas. But that's why I was asking you if that's something you would be watching.
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I have to get a feel of it, really.
Watch the trailer. It looks pretty cool. I would actually watch it if they play it here.
Yeah. Well, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, then. I think that wraps it up. All right. I want to thank BWA Swtich for joining us on this episode. Please support her fundraiser for her friend in need of some help. And also, the contest is still ongoing for the Cowboy Bebop. You have to email us at bitsforyoupodcast@gmail.com. The questions that you want us to ask to help you get the hint of the movie, bitsforyoupodcast@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter, Bits For You Podcast. Same thing on Facebook. And